One of the questions surrounding the New York Mets this winter will be, can they keep ace right-hander Jacob deGrom, who can opt out of the final 2 years of his contract? Will Mets owner Steve Cohen keep deGrom in Flushing? New York Post sports reporter Zach Braziller spoke to Cohen at Old Timers Day on Saturday, and he joins me now. Zach, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's interesting. Obviously, deGrom has said he's going to opt out if Cohen wants to. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to pay deGrom more than Cohen, and Cohen completely sounded like he's willing to do whatever it takes. Now, does deGrom want to not be here? Now, there would be nothing the Mets can do, but deGrom has said he likes being a Met, despite, whispers that maybe he would like to be somewhere closer to home. So we'll see what happens, but clearly the Mets are going to do what it takes to keep him.
Yeah, and you wrote that Steve Cohen is all in on the Mets keeping Jacob deGrom. Is there any more you can tell us about that? Cohen says he's all in. Does that mean he's willing to pay him excess of upwards of $50 million or something like that? How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think you're looking at least in the ballpark of 47, maybe 48, who knows, maybe 50. My assumption would be kind of a similar deal to what they gave Scherzer, maybe a 2-year deal, 2 years, maybe 97 million, something like that. Clearly deGrom is underpaid. It's crazy to say someone making $31 million a year is underpaid, but he is. He's the best pitcher in baseball. I know he's had injury issues, but we've seen what he's done since he's been back. He's been absolutely phenomenal. You would like to maybe see him go a little deeper into games, but I mean, 2.15 ERA, and this is after not pitching for a full year. I expect him only to get better.
I can only expect that as well. Now, you were at Old Timers Day on Saturday, an event the Mets last hosted in 1994. And Steve Cohen's responsible for bringing this event back. So how was he received by the Mets fans at Citi Field during the event?
He was treated like a hero. All the players wanted to meet him and shake his hand. The fans were chanting, "Thank you, Steve." Look, anyone who was taking over for the Wilpons was going to be popular. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But he's done a lot of things that have really, really, ingratiated him to the fan base, whether it was, getting the Tom Seaver statue finalized, retiring Keith Hernandez's number, Old Timers Day, raising the payroll. He's done everything right here. And look, these weren't things that were impossible to do. The Wilpons were just so tone deaf in terms of, listening to the fan base. And that's one thing he told me yesterday was he thinks it's important to listen to the fan base. He said, you're not always going to necessarily agree with what they say, but it's important that they understand that you're hearing them.
Yeah, definitely important when you are an owner of a team. Now, there's been a lot of changes since Cohen, as you just mentioned, purchased the team, and the Metropolitans currently sit in first place. So do you feel a new sense of optimism around this organization and the fan base?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt about it. The payroll has gone up. The team is, winning it. This is the best regular season they've had since 1986 at this point. They're going to make the playoffs, whether they can hold off the Braves in the division or they end up with a wild card. We mentioned all the other little things that I know the fans really appreciate. He's created goodwill with the fan base, which isn't really that hard to do if you listen to them. And that's really important because, look, there are going to be tough times. And when you create goodwill, I think it makes things easier on you. And look, the Mets need to win. We all know that. They have somewhat of an aging pitching staff. They have a ton of free agents. They clearly, want to win. And that's something that Cohen has made clear that he wants to win a World Series in his first 5 years as owner. And in his second year, who knows, maybe it can happen.
It might happen. Mets fans, at least for now, they are optimistic about that. That is Zach Braziller, New York Post sports reporter. Zach, always appreciate your time. Thanks, man.
Hey, man, anytime.